Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Pathfinder. I have a few different videos here about finding your passion and building a career that you love. This is for young adults and parents. And episode 2, now we are defining and focusing on your goals and giving you a step-by-step guide to achieving success. Have you ever had a big dream, but you didn't know where to start or you felt overwhelmed by too many options? Well, today we're breaking down the process of turning dreams into achievable, clear steps. So I want to first explain that this video is going to cover setting broad objectives, categorizing them, and narrowing them down to create a focused plan that aligns with your personal values. So I want to preview the key topics because by the end of this video, I want to set a clear goal that you'll have practical tips and tools to turn your big vision into actionable steps. We'll walk through real life examples, detailed scenarios, and practical tips to help you create goals that you're excited to achieve. So first, I want to focus on section 1. Here we can see broad objectives. We want to set broad objectives by encouraging big dreams. So you want to first start with a broad vision because that lets you aim high and to think about your long-term aspirations without any limits. So ask yourself questions like, what would I want my life to look like if there were no obstacles? And also, what inspires me? And what about this journey resonates with me? Maybe you could also ask, what do I want to contribute to the world? So an example goal might be, imagine that you dream of becoming a leader in environmental conservation. This is a broad goal, but it's about creating a positive impact on the planet and could take many forms. It could be policy making, it could be research, or community work. So you want to build a vision statement. Write 1 or 2 sentences of a vision statement that summarizes what you want to achieve. For example, I want to contribute to sustainable environmental practices that help communities worldwide thrive. So the tip here is to keep it short and inspiring. This kind of a statement should be a motivator whatever you revisit and whenever you revisit your goals. Then you want to use visualization to make your goals real. So you could visualize, for example, spending a few moments each day. You could imagine yourself achieving this goal. You could picture specific scenes, giving a talk on climate policy or leading a local environmental initiative, something like that. So here's some actionable advice. You want to create a vision board with images. You can use words, quotes that represent your dreams. This will remind you of the bigger picture and keep you focused when challenges arise. Then you want to define your core values. So you want to explain, because knowing what matters most will help you to refine your goals later. So examples of core values might include independence, creativity, empathy, knowledge, or stability. Here's an actionable step. You want to write down your top 5 values and why they're important to you. For example, empathy is important to me because I want to create positive change in people's lives. So you want to really sit down and think about and envision yourself. You want to set broad objectives, like I said in number 1, because without a big thing, sometimes we don't dream big enough. We think I want a new car or I want to maybe get married and have a family. But we really have to think about, how are we going to create this? Even if your dream is to have a marriage and a family, how will you get to the point of self-sufficiency, independence? How will you get to a partner, finding somebody who is going to think that you are a worthwhile investment? When you dream big and you set high goals, you bring other people along with your dream too. And when you do that, you really start to make it a reality. So what I want you to do is to, like I said, write down your goals, big goals, things that you want to do for humanity, things that you want to accomplish maybe in science, something that's important to you. I know that my daughter is a senior in high school, and she is very interested in helping elderly people. Why? Because she's very close to her grandparents. So things that are important to you, people who have made an impact on you. It might be that you grew up with very little money. Your parents were scraping by. And so money is the core value to you. Well, you're in the right place, because I have a YouTube channel, Hot Next Gen Careers. You're on it right now, where I discuss the most lucrative careers that you can do, the best return on investment, degrees that you can get, certificates if you don't want to spend 4 years in college. But if money is what your aim is, there are plenty of ways to do that. And you can do it in a humanity way. You can be in finance, but working towards cybersecurity. You can work with money or dream big about your salary while you are helping a vision or a passion of yours, be it to help the world with climate, be it to help people. There are many ways to be of service in this world, but you need to create a large plan for yourself of what you really want to do, because the bigger you dream, the better it is. The actions will come out of it, and people will get excited around you, including someone who might want to support you as a life partner. So then I'm going to move to section 2 and have break down your goals. So why you need to categorize. You want to make categories because it will help you focus on your goals. So let me explain this. When you categorize, you're keeping your goals from feeling overwhelming. You're allowing to focus on one area at a time. It's also a good way to make sure you're addressing different parts of your life. So here's an example of some categories. Career. So you want a category of career where you are writing down progress or change in your professional life. So for me, for example, that looked like becoming a teacher first in order to gain experience about what is needed for high school students, what our parents need as well, before I could get to this point of being a career guide or a mentor. So if you have little parts of your career in place at a time, these are much more manageable. If you say, okay, I'm going to go towards working on this one step first, and then you accomplish it, it will help you break down your bigger picture. So then you want to also, besides talking about the steps that you can make in your career, you want to talk about your personal growth. So you want to develop character and resilience and emotional intelligence. How can you do that? There are plenty of ways to do it, but you could develop character by volunteering. You could have a mentor. You could join networking groups through Facebook groups or meetup. So different ways that you experience the world will help you grow personally, but you're going to have to get out there and start to do it. Then we have skills development. So you want to build specific abilities like coding or public speaking. If you want to, for me, I needed to get better at video editing. And so every day I set aside about 15 to 30 minutes to watch some tutorial video about video editing. You could also go to YouTube or Coursera. There's different, Google has some platforms, IT platforms, whatever it is that you think you need to know, you can little by little start to develop those skills on your own free time. Then, of course, there's health and wellness, because physical and mental well-being are goals to achieve, and you won't be able to do much if your body is not nice and strong. And then there's relationships. You want to strengthen connections with your family, your friends, and others, because you know that you will need a friend. In order to have a friend, you have to be a friend. Then there's hobbies and leisure. So you want to find joy outside of work or academic pursuits. So look for things that make you happy. Join clubs or play Minecraft with friends, whatever it is that you have for your hobbies and what makes you happy. You do need to try to embrace and nurture that category as well. Then when you have your categories written down, you want to identify goals in each of the categories. So a tip would be to brainstorm and write down one or two goals for each category. For example, under careers, you might want to write down, I want to be a published author. For skills development, you could write something like, I want to learn public speaking to communicate my ideas better. With health, you could write down, I want to run a half marathon for personal wellness. For relationships, maybe something like, I want to spend more quality time with my family. So here's an actionable step. For each category, list the goals that align with your vision and your core values. Because once you start to align things, not only will you feel more satisfaction, but your growth will strengthen between you enjoy and goals. You'll develop more meaningful relationships, but you do need to break things down into manageable chunks, because it will get overwhelming even for the best of us. So then when you're breaking down your goals into actionable steps, you want to list the specific steps needed to move forward. For example, for your career goals, you could say become a published author. So really, you want to begin outlining, if you say you want to be a published author, for example, step one could be research the genre you want to write in and identify your niche. Step two could be set aside 30 minutes a day to write. Step three could be join a writer's group so you can get some feedback. Step four could be begin to outline your book and aim to write one chapter per month. So here's a tip. You want to break down these larger tasks, like writing a book, into micro goals, such as writing 500 words a day. Then you want to create a balanced plan. So what I mean is, don't focus on only one area. Achieving balance ensures that you're growing in multiple aspects of your life. So remember, we are talking about the different relationships and career goals, etc. You want to maybe prioritize two categories each week, and then spend at least an hour working towards goals in each of those categories. So, for example, if your focus is on skills development and health that week, you might spend 3 hours per week on a new course and 2 hours exercising. So then I'm getting to section 3, narrowing down your options, because it can get really overwhelming. We all know that. So you want to, number one, use reflection to identify personal goals. We talked last episode about reassessing what your goals might be and using self-reflection. Because if you don't know what you're going toward, it could be an issue. What are you passionate about? Is it helping the environment? Is it helping people? Is it helping children or the elderly? So the more narrow you can get about, and what is it that you like about helping people? Or maybe you just like to help your family and you're more interested in goals that align with your family's goals. So whatever that is, you want to have goals that resonate for you. So you want to evaluate whether each goal truly aligns with your core values and your interests. So you want to ask questions like, is this goal meaningful to me? And does it make me feel excited? So here's one scenario, for example, a person with a goal to work in corporate finance might realize they're more passionate about a social enterprise or a nonprofit after some reflection. So then after reflecting, you want to eliminate non-aligned goals. So here's a tip. You can cross out goals that don't feel right. This frees you to focus on the areas that resonate deeply. So like for my daughter, she's not necessarily interested in helping all people around the world. She's focused more on elderly people. For me, I'm more focused on not all students. I talk more to high school students. So the more you can define your goals, the better. And here's an actionable step. For each goal, list why it's meaningful or why it isn't. If a goal lacks a meaningful reason, consider dropping it. Then you want to evaluate feasibility and time because we all only have 24 hours in a day, right? So some goals may be ambitious but not feasible in short term. So here's a tip. If your goal feels unrealistic now, it can become a future goal. Focus on stepping stone goals that build up to the larger dream. So here's one example. Instead of aiming to start an international nonprofit organization right away, start by volunteering with local nonprofits and gaining some experience there. So you want to create a priority list. What I mean by that is like ranking each goal by importance and timeline. So when you work on one or two goals at a time, it can improve your focus, also prevent burnout. Here's an actionable step. How about prioritizing which goal will make the biggest in life right now and rate? So now we're on to tips for focusing. So I want to give you some real life scenarios. I've been around several blocks here in my several careers. And so I can give you some scenarios that I've ran. So here is number one. It's a mid-career professional, a marketing professional in this case, who dreams of moving into data analysis. So they set a broad goal of becoming a data analyst, and then they break it down into categories. So under the category career, they might break it to take a beginner course in data analytics. Under skills development, maybe practice with data sets for 2 hours weekly. Then under networking, they put down join a data-focused meetup group. And then actionable steps taken, they take online courses, they create a profile of projects, and eventually apply for a data-focused role. Here's another scenario. Here's a student that has a lot of passions, and they are torn between a career in psychology or they explore each field, and ultimately they decide that mental health tech is a great blend. So the steps taken were they majored in psychology, they tech electives, and then look for internships in mental health focused tech companies. So here's some general tips for staying focused. Here's tip number one. You want to revisit your goals monthly. You want to reflect on progress. You want to adjust as needed. And you want to make sure that your goals are still aligned with your values. Here's tip number two. You want to celebrate your milestone. Whether it's completing a course or getting feedback, small wins keep motivation high. And tip number three, find an accountability partner or join a community for support and encouragement. So now I want to wrap this up with some key takeaways. I want to reinforce to you the value of setting broad goals, breaking them into categories, and focusing on what truly matters. You want to remember, I want to encourage you that goals are like maps. They guide you, but they can evolve as you grow. Keep focused on what's meaningful to you and don't be afraid to refine or redefine your path. So here's a call to action for you. I want to invite you to comment on your own goals and then subscribe for more personal growth content. I thank you so much for joining us. We are Hot Next Gen Careers, where we are talking about the new and hottest, the best careers to focus on for growth, for high demand, for high salary, and certainly that money should be reinvested. We'll talk about financial literacy at another date, but you want to grow and build your wealth to ultimately not work anymore. Thank you so much, and I will get you on the next video.